Hey y'all, Jedi here. I wanted to do an updated video for my Grave of Venom team. I'm now running Grave of Venom Stage 9 full auto. So I just want to show the stats I'm using for that. Real quick, if you're trying to do this free to play, you can come in these lineup tips, do show non-legendary lineups, and you'll be able to see teams that don't have legendaries. Now, if you're free to play and you've pulled a good legendary that slots into one of these slots, definitely do that. But this will give you an idea of what you can use. Mostly, you need to be pumping tons of healing and defense for your tank, and you at least need one person who's going to be doing some damage. So for me, that's Voresh. When you come in here, you can see alternate people on the teams. I use Megan, the Clan Defender, for my defense up. You can use this other rare, Corion. I use Adventure Ice Shield, which everyone should have. Horrus, everyone should have. Heksandra, everyone should have. Voresh is the only one that I use that you may not have. If you come in here, you can see some other people use like Dane over here. But you still need to balance out the extra heals somewhere on your team if you're going to have someone that's not Voresh, because he does do extra heals with his attack. And real quick, getting into the lineup, we have them set up here. It's the same as last video. Horrus is the only one that's going to be taking the main hits from the boss. Megan here has the lowest HP, so she's going to take the main hit from the Wisp, but she's able to survive that. So for Horrus, your goal for stats, you need to get an extra 60,000 HP minimum and an extra 15,000 defense. So the way I did that is I pushed HP, chest, and gloves, and I look for those defense sub rolls in my stats. It's kind of hard to get, but it does take some grinding on those other stages to get the gear for this. And then on his runes, I use HP and defense runes to bump him up even more. When you gear him out, use the Troll's Heart. This is going to give you the extra HP. It doesn't reflect on here, I don't believe, but once you're in the battle, you get an extra 20% HP if this is leveled up. You probably want this at a minimum 14%, if not more, depending on how much HP you're getting. When you do your gear, if you have this Ancestral Protection gear, do not do more than 2 sets on it, because he'll start taking extra damage for other allies. This gear is great in other content, and here where he's the only one taking damage, you don't want him to have that, because then he's going to die. Megan, the only thing that matters on her gear is skill haste. You do want to keep her HP low. As you can see, you have a resistance chest, which is doing nothing for her other than the skill haste with the double set. This one, there's no good substats on any of these. So the only thing I focused on her, so this is the only good piece on her. The only thing I focused on her is skill haste. I just pushed gear that's doing skill haste. And then that's really about it. She's going to be able to survive those hits anyways. Voresh, my attacker, I just pump as much attack as I can out of him. His heals are based off his attack, so I don't focus so much on the crit rate and crit damage. I just focus on that attack so he could take down the boss and keep our heals up. Adventure, he's just there for the ice shield. If you can get skill haste, that's great. Other than that, you can pump a little bit of attack to help with damage. And then Heksandra, same thing. She just needs some skill haste. She's not taking any damage in here, so you could change up her gear to where you just pump enlightenment and skill haste so she gets good heals and gets them out fast. We're gonna get this running. So the reason why I have the people on the team that I have is that Horrus, he's the free-to-play tank. He's probably the only epic and rare tank that's going to do this job as well as he does. You could use another tank, but it's going to be probably pumping more stats because Horrus is just a beast at taking those hits. Megan over here, that defense up, just kind of helps us counteract getting that defense down sometimes. So whenever he does have the defense up, he's not taking as much damage as he would be. A lot of times with her skill haste where it's at, it'll kind of coincide with that defense down, so that helps. And whenever it doesn't coincide, then Heksandra comes in here and cleanses it, which is why I like Heksandra. It's her A2 ability. She has the ability to cleanse debuffs. That's the only debuff being put up, so whenever she does her cleanse, she's always cleansing that for him. The Adventurer Shield is good, plus his normal attack does some pretty good damage, so he helps us out with the damage. And then Voresh is pretty much just the one killing the boss for us. Worry not. And like I said, if you're going to switch Voresh out for someone else, it's going to be a lot harder. I'm not going to lie to you guys, he's a pretty necessary person on this team. If you don't have him, you got to find a way to get some other heals on this team to keep your tank alive.
Worry not, I am here.
Guys, you guys can of course skip through if you need to, or you can speed up the YouTube videos to make it go a little bit faster, but just so that you can see the full run. And then just for your information, being full up front, this is not a 100% win rate team. This is about a 90 to 95% win rate team. The way I get this team to 100% is when I use food, which I'm currently not doing, so I want to show you guys that you can do this team without the food. That way, if your team has lower stats than mine, you can use food to bump your stats up to where I'm at, so you can still be getting some wins. The other way to get this up to 100% win rate is to manual some of the abilities, and that would be like using Horus's main ability. His ultimate, if you use it right before this final attack, it gives him tons of defense, so he doesn't take so much damage from it, and then that will help you get 100% win rate. However, I'm trying to get this to full auto because, you know, in games like this, we just want to let this run and grind gear. I don't want to sit here and manual forever. So that's why I'm doing it on full auto like this and getting it to where it can run. It does require a little bit extra stats when you're not manualing because you're not controlling the defense up and you're not controlling his ability, but it can still be done. So that's the run, y'all. As you can see, the main goal of this team is just keeping your tank alive, so it's all heals and defense. And then you of course need at least one person dropping damage to kill the boss. Once you start getting 9, you'll start getting these extra drops, which is awesome. And we got attack percent chest, that's good. HP, cool. You see the stats in here. Horrus is doing literally all the damage. We get a little backup damage from the adventurer, and then it's just all the heals and defense you can get over to Horrus. And then just quick reminder, like I said, they did update this, so you have lineup tips in here. You can see what legendaries people are using, so if you have legendaries and you want to slot one in, you kind of have an idea of who other people are using if you have one of those. And then you can go into these non-legendary lineups and you can see the teams without it. If you're not using any legendaries at all, it's pretty strict on who you're going to need to use because you need the heals. Like I said, you have the team I have, if you're not using him, people are bringing in Muddy Demon. You do have to require a little bit different setup for him just because now you're going to have him running up to the boss, so he's going to be taking damage too. So you probably need lots of defense if you're going to be using him. Otherwise, if you have the legendaries, definitely slot them in to help you out. That's all I have for the video. Just wanted to show the stats, show the run. Y'all have a good one.